AMD Epyc in storage. Matt,
Yeah.
what is this a new thing? I kind of remember AMD Opteron single socket in storage before they pulled out of the market.
Yeah, a couple of announcements got made over the last couple of weeks around AMD. The first is that Oracle's Exadata 10M platform, their database machine, they moved to AMD Epyc as the CPU of choice, both for the storage layer and the controller layer. And the other piece was that HPE's GreenLake storage is based on AMD Epyc embedded. So I find these interesting for a couple of reasons. So yeah, it is, right? So I think what I really like about all of this is the fact that AMD has done so well in the cloud and high performance computing. Epyc is it's really made a lot of progress. One of the areas where AMD has kind of lagged a little bit in adoption has been in the enterprise. So this, to me, I look at what they're doing with Oracle and with HPE, and it removes those, or it lessens that kind of beachhead, or softens that beachhead into the enterprise for Epyc. So great win for them from a kind of platform perspective, but also really relevant because it drives greater adoption. It should drive greater adoption in the enterprise.
Yeah, is there some characteristic that you think AMD is doing different here? Is it pricing? Is it is the binary x86 compatibility? Because it has to be compatible with all the software that is driving these SANs and NASs and things like that.
I think it's a little bit of all of the above. I think pricing certainly comes into play, but I also think it has a lot to do with the architecture of Epyc itself, right? So, interestingly, on the database platform, Oracle is utilizing all the highest end of Epyc's portfolio, which is the 96 core part. When you look at what they're doing for the storage controller, they go down stack into the 32 core parts. From what I've read, it has a lot to do with the per core performance and the memory footprint that Epyc has, right? I mean, you've got 12 memory channels, you've got gobs of memory capacity, 3 terabytes of capacity per socket. That has a lot to do with, and the size of the cache has a lot to do with performance of, both from a kind of an IOPS perspective and a moving of data perspective. So I think those have a lot to do with it, and certainly price. I mean, they've been very aggressive in chasing after the enterprise. I think this is another lever they're pulling. They know they have all of the other advantages. What I'm also curious about is when I look at other storage providers, the Pures of the world, Vast is a little bit different in that they're a little bit divorced from the hardware. But what are other storage providers going to do? There's obvious value in what Epyc brings to the table. I'm kind of curious as to whether this adoption is the beginning of a bigger trend within the storage industry.
Yeah, that single socket play that AMD has always had. It's interesting, right?
Oh,
what they can do in one socket and what they're willing to invest is always impressive.